Hello, my name is Lucas. This is a bit of lit. I've been pretty absent for a while, largely because my internet was shut off by the failing company that I was renting through, which has cheated a lot of people, and myself included, so I had to move, and a lot of people are out of a lot of money. A lot of money. A tremendous amount, and I'm only full of anger and rage right now. But let's talk about something I did read last week before life turned me upside down and, you know, gave me a reason to be angry. Gave me another reason, I suppose. I finished reading part 3 of Lord of the Rings out of 6, the first half of The Two Towers. I believe it goes by the name of The Treason of Isengard, in which Boromir dies right away, and Legolas, Gimli, and Aragorn have to make the tough decision of what to do next. Of course, Aragorn wants to go to Gondor, where he is the rightful king. He does sort of think maybe he should follow Frodo. They should follow Frodo and Sam. But they feel like they're better suited toward chasing Merry and Pippin, who have been captured by orcs. And Boromir was trying to protect them, but was slain by sort of countless arrows. He was a pincushion of arrows, so to speak. And that rain is quite loud. They chase him, and we get... It's kind of a mix now. I can't quite remember exactly all the details of how, what goes where, and who and the why. But Merry and Pippin manage their escape from the orcs, who start a fight with each other, and then have Éomer and his crew stir some things up, and they run off into Fangorn, which is the old forest, and the name of the forest, and they come across Treebeard, who is an Ent, and meanwhile, the way we're getting it is like we're getting bits and pieces of the story of how things happened all throughout. We also, we're following Merry and Pippin in this half, and then we're following Aragorn as well. They're chasing, they come across Éomer and his crew, and they talk about Rohan, and they get some horses. And they see a mysterious man in white with a staff, and they suspect it might be Saruman, in which case it seems like it was. They go into the forest of Fangorn. They find some clues. Pippin had left a little emblem just as something, so hopefully someone would notice. Oh, wait, I've seen that before. We're on the right track. They're going this way, blah, blah, blah. Of course, it works. Aragorn finds it because he's got a sharp eye. Well, Legolas has sharper eyes, but he's a ranger, so they go into the forest, and they come across Gandalf the White, who is back from the dead, and I think it is a misfire in some ways. It is fine, but I think, Gandalf coming back to life, it does sort of, like, the impact of him dying, him being the most powerful, most knowledgeable character, the leader of the Fellowship, having that breakdown with the Balrog, which we get in a really interesting story about what happened and how far they fell, and their fight and climbing back up. It's all very interesting, but I just think it does sort of diminish the impact of losing Gandalf, who is the most powerful, the most knowledgeable. But he's back, and and he's here to dole out sound wisdom and make things magically happen. They go to Rohan, and Grima Wormtongue is there. And he is stirring up all kinds of trouble. He is, he is the counselor for Theoden King, who looks sickly. Now I feel like I'm misremembering. He does look sickly, I'm pretty sure. But I have the image of the movie in my head, so I'm thinking, wait, am I just remembering the movie? This happens to me all the time. And it's been a week since I read it, so it's not totally fresh. No, he looks sickly. And he's just out of it. And he's listening too much, but, Gandalf and Aragorn and all them convince him, especially Gandalf. Come on there, buddy. That's not cool. Let Grima prove himself, and Grima can't, he runs like a coward. To Sauron. Meanwhile, back to Merry and Pippin, because we're going back and forth in their stories. They've been with Treebeard for a while, and they convince him to call up an Ent moot, a meeting where they will discuss what to do about Sauron and Isengard, where everything has been torn down for production's sake. And the moot decides to go to war, and they utterly thrash Sauron. And we get a lot of that from Merry and Pippin after our friends in Rohan go to Helm's Deep, and they have to have a big battle there, and Gandalf saves the day. I'd like to read something because I had forgotten how really powerful the description. The battle is not too in-depth, but it's just enough to feel the action and the atmosphere of what's going on, and it's really cool. We'll just read from page 540. Let's see. "I have still this to say," answered Aragorn. "No enemy has yet taken the Hornburg. Depart, or not one of you will be spared. Not one will be left alive to take back tidings to the north. You do not know your peril." So great a power and royalty was revealed in Aragorn as he stood there alone above the ruined gates before the host of his enemies, that many of the wild men paused and looked back over their shoulders to the valley, and some looked up doubtfully at the sky. But the orcs laughed with loud voices, and a hail of darts and arrows whistled over the wall as Aragorn leaped down. There was a roar and a blast of fire. The archway of the gate above which he had stood a moment before crumbled and crashed in smoke and dust. The barricade was scattered as if by a thunderbolt. Aragorn ran to the king's tower, but even as the gate fell and the orcs about it yelled, preparing to charge, a murmur arose behind them, like a wind in the distance, and it grew to a clamor of many voices crying strange news in the dawn. The orcs upon the rock, hearing the rumor of dismay, wavered and looked back, and then, sudden and terrible, from the tower above, the sound of the great horn of Helm rang out. And there's all kinds of, absolutely wonderful writing. Really intense, really exciting, very interesting writing. They successfully defend the siege, and then make their way to Isengard and have a little chat with Merry and Pippin about everything that's been going on. We get a lot more details. And that's all in good fun. And of course, then we have a conversation with Sauron. And Sauron is really interesting because, let's see. He is... I'll read another part from Saruman, because just the way he has a sort of a magical voice, and he's very manipulative in that way, and it's really cool. I love this power that he has. He's trying to, sort of smooth talk his way out to all the other people, and then finally he talks to Gandalf. And like when everyone is listening to all these other ones, they're sort of, in a way, soothed by the things that Saruman says. But when he talks to Gandalf, like they all feel something inside of them that tells them, I'm hearing something I should not be. And it's sort of like a cringing kind of feeling. And it's just, I love this power of Saruman. Let's see. Yes, there we go. So great was the power that Saruman exerted in his last effort that none that stood within hearing were unmoved. But now the spell was wholly different. They heard the gentle remonstrance of a kindly king with an erring but much-loved minister. But they were shut out, listening at a door to words not meant for them. Ill-mannered children or stupid servants overhearing the elusive discourse of their elders and wondering how it would affect their lot. Of loftier mold these two were made, reverend and wise. It was inevitable that they should make alliance. Gandalf would ascend into the tower to discuss deep things beyond their comprehension in the high chambers of Wormtongue. The door would be closed, and they would be left outside, dismissed to await allotted work or punishment. Even in the mind of Theoden, the thought took shape like a shadow of doubt. He will betray us. He will go. We shall be lost. Yeah, also building up the fear of, even though we've seen this before at the Council of Elrond, where it's possible that, an alliance between Gandalf and Saruman will be made. Gandalf chooses not to when he's Gandalf the Grey, but now he's Gandalf the White. And he's even less convinced, and he chooses to do the right thing. Saruman does not come out. He does not decide to help the effort. Grima also does not. He's forced into the tower by Treebeard. And it seems like they're fighting, Grima and Saruman, because the Palantir comes out, which Gandalf takes, and at night Pippin takes a gander at, and he starts getting asked questions about what's in the Palantir, and it scares him, and Gandalf asks him about it, and sort of where it ends there. Basically, they plan to split up a little bit. Pippin with Gandalf and other people off on their own way. The next part, I don't remember what the ring heads east or something, starting with the taming of Smeagol. We'll follow Frodo and Sam. What I like, something that I have sort of noticed this time around, is that Pippin makes a lot of things happen. I mean, I'm sure there are more, but he just does a lot of things. He, now that I've said it, well, him and Merry, Saruman wants them because he tells the orcs he needs hobbits, but he doesn't tell them why. So Saruman sort of thinks he's got the ring bearer. Because of this, Aragorn and Legolas and Gimli all go this way, and they end up meeting Gandalf and end up going to Rohan and defending Helm's Deep and coming across Pippin, coming across Pippin too as well. But and that's all great and fine and dandy, and Isengard doesn't have hold of Rohan anymore, so that's great. Pippin along with Merry gets the Ents to stir up trouble, and that's good fun. And then he looks at the Palantir, right? Stir up trouble with Isengard and take them out of the equation, that is. And also he looks in the Palantir, so now, you know, if I remember right, the person talking to him, he does ask some questions and then says, tell Saruman, to confer with me or something like that. I can't remember now. But because Pippin looks into the thing, the Palantir. You know what? Actually, because of things that Pippin has done, you know, Grima coming back or whatever, this causes Helm's Deep to happen, actually, I think. From my understanding, Isengard sends all these orcs out, which helps the Ents crush it. It's a little bit difficult to tell the timing of everything exactly. I mean, there's times given, but the orcs go out, try to attack Helm's Deep perfectly. Things work out perfectly. It's very difficult for me to remember things right now because it's been 2 weeks. Also, the rain is getting a lot louder. So that was misguided. Me trying to say Pippin is great because now I'm very confused about what I'm saying. But Pippin is a hero. Pippin is a legend. He gets caught. He gets Treebeard. He gets caught by the orcs. He gets Treebeard to fight. Because of them getting caught, Grima comes back and orcs are sent out, leaving the way for the Ents, if I get my math right. It's been a while, I guess. And then Helm's Deep is defended, and all those orcs are ran down and crushed and destroyed and whatever. And Isengard is also crushed and left out of the equation. Then he looks in Palantir, and because of that, Mordor and Sauron are going to be focusing their attentions to Gondor, or wherever they think he's going, or where he is, that kind of thing. And it's going to allow time for Sam and Frodo to make it along through. So thank you, Pippin. Was that so hard to say? No, thank you. Goodbye.